Hello, adventurers, and welcome back to the Dragon's Lair. Today, we are going to talk about the maddest lad himself, Stein, along with his weapon partner, Lady Marie. So, let's jump right into it, shall we? Starting off with strength. First off, I would assume he would patch himself up with more muscle than your average bear. You get that reference?
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I would be very disappointed if you didn't.
Yes.
But yeah. I would assume he would patch himself up with more muscle than usual. Then we have the whole, first episode we see him in, where he 1v1s, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, we should be good. That wasn't a spoiler, because I misspoke. He 1v2s Maka and Blackstar, and yeets Blackstar back, pretty much into the next century.
Mm-hmm.
So... there's that. Granted, throwing a kid isn't that hard. But if I recall correctly, he threw Blackstar, who's muscular, we've already established, back with one hand. Do you remember that? Because I think Blackstar did a kick.
Yeah, he did something.
Yeah, and then Stein was just like, nah. And yeeted him. So there's that. But aside from that, there's not a whole lot to go off of. But I think that's good enough. It's more than I usually work with.
It's fair.
So, for strength, I'm gonna go somewhere around 16, 18, maybe 20 if you would like, but 16, 18 probably better. Into dexterity, we good for strength? Cool.
Good.
That scene that I just talked about where he beats Maka and Blackstar, yeah, he does that while sitting in a rolly chair. So, I said this man was a mad lad for a reason. Just imagine you're trying to kill this guy and he just never gets up from sitting reverse in a rolly chair.
Bro.
Can you imagine? The only thing that would make it better is if it were the rolly chair from the youth room, the one that's broken. Nope. It's just going back and forth constantly. Bro. But yeah, aside from that, we see him in a few fights. I want to specifically talk about, and I'll say spoiler alert again, 3, 2, 1, we should be good. I want to talk about the Stein Medusa fight that happened somewhere in the middle of the series. Specifically, the vector plates. And how, when you step on them, they disorient you and throw you in a direction, and then the fact that you have to reorient yourself when you land, otherwise you'll just be thrown around and Medusa's gonna kill you really quickly. So, the fact that Stein steps on them a few times, even without knowing what they do yet, and is still able to reorient himself in place and continue the fight, is extremely dexterous. So because of that, I'm going to say something similar to strength, which is 16, 18, possibly 20 if you would like. But 16, 18 probably makes a little more sense. Into constitution. He sews himself together. I assume it's him. I don't know.
That's fair.
There doesn't really ever go into what's his and what's not. So I'm just gonna bypass that one there. But when you look at the fighting and stuff, he takes quite a bit of hits, or quite a few hits throughout the series. Then I want to talk about the madness for a little bit. So spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, we should be good. Some would argue that the madness belongs in the wisdom portion, and we'll get there. But I would say it belongs in Constitution as well, just for the sheer amount of time that it went on, and the fact that it was supposed to tear him apart. And by the end of the series, I said spoiler alert.
Yes.
But I've said it many times now. But I've said it again, and wasted a lot of time in between. By the end of the series, he was very particularly not pulled apart. So, something that's supposed to pull you apart, and then you're not, and I'll give it Constitution, why not? So because of that, I'm going to go probably straight 20. Honestly. Just because of the length of time that he dealt with it, and then the fact that it didn't do what it was supposed to do.
I mean, it was basically the whole series, almost.
Yeah, pretty much the halfway point after the resurrection of Dude Bro.
Mm-hmm.
3 eyes. So, but yeah, he was targeted for the madness.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was specifically created so Stein would go insane. And, yeah, they did it.
Yeah.
You know? Into intelligence. He knows quite a bit. I'm gonna give him that. He knows what he's talking about. To the point where he probably knows too much for his own good. You know? So, we'll do that. I don't have the test episode to go off of here, but like, you know, he's a professor. He's a mad scientist. That's more than I usually go off of. So I'm gonna say pretty high. I'm gonna say 16 to 18 for his intelligence score. Into wisdom, it's kind of where he starts to falter a little bit, because while he knows a lot and he can tell others how to put things in practice, like he did with Maka and 3-person resonating, he himself can't prevent himself from going crazy, right? And it's that innate insanity that kind of makes him lose control of himself, and I would argue gives him a lower wisdom than the rest of his scores would predict, I'll say. So because of that, I would go for wisdom somewhere around 6 to 8, maybe 10, probably not. Honestly, I would say this is a negative score. You have anything to add, Chill? You look like you wanted to... No?
Nah.
Cool. Into charisma. He's a mad scientist. You know? Fits the bill perfectly. Few friends. Crazy laugh. Misses like a lot of just time because he's doing random weird things. You know? He's a mad scientist. He doesn't, as I said, he doesn't really have very many friends. He just has coworkers. The only exceptions would theoretically be Marie and Soul. Not Soul. Spirit.
Yes.
Possibly the kids, the main characters, but not as much. I really don't even think you would be able to consider Lord Death a friend of Stein. Just a coworker. Because, like, yeah, they get along, but Lord Death gets along with everyone. That's kind of his MO.
Maybe a close coworker, but yeah, I don't...
Maybe, but I really think you can't get a whole lot closer than Marie and Spirit did to him.
True.
And even then, they're kind of loosely considered friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then Marie might be considered a little more. But, not getting into that. Aside from that, he doesn't really speak a whole lot. When he does, it's usually just instructions, as he is a professor, or strategizing when they're in the midst of a battle or right beforehand. So, there's not like a whole lot of persuading. There's really not a whole lot of intimidation he tries to do, which is crazy, because when you got a screw hanging out of your head and a bunch of sewing marks on you, you can be worth quite a bit of points to intimidation.
Yeah.
You know? But, to each his own. So, because of that, honestly, because of the reclusiveness, I'm going to go with... I think I'm using that word right. I'm going to just skip past it now. Thanks for the assistance, Chill. The slow shrug of your shoulders.
I do not know vocabulary.
Be like that. Our school has failed us. Because of that, I'm going to go probably somewhere around 6 to 8 if you wanted to get his friendliness down, and then maybe a little more if you were dealing with specifically people that he was closer friends with. So somewhere, I wouldn't go above 10, honestly, for that score. And I'd only do 10 if you were in a party with Maka, Blackstar, Soul, Spirit, and Marie. But, you know, to each his own. Did I miss anything there?
Nah.
Speaking of Marie, then. See that segue? It's
Yes.
a very bad segue. But it's the one I got. So, Marie, starting off with Constitution, she takes a few hits throughout the series, not a ton. The main thing with her is the drinking of the snake, which sounds like something you get at a tea shop. But no, it was coffee. No, it was tea. They drink tea. They were drinking tea. Doesn't matter.
No.
Leave a comment down below if you know what they were drinking. because I'm pretty sure it was T, but I'm not 100% sure. Either way, spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, we should be good. Krona puts a snake in Marie's drink, and she winds up drinking it. It doesn't hurt her at all, but, you know, I don't have another place to put this. So, here it is, in Constitution. Pair that with the fact that she does take hits and kind of bounces back pretty well. I'm going to give her a slightly above average score of 12 to 14. You know? Moving into intelligence, she's not dumb. I'll give her that. I don't remember, did she teach up at the academy? Or was she just kind of there? Do you recall?
I think she taught something.
Probably. I mean, they got a dead dude to teach something, so, like, True. Probably. Either way, when looking at it from a strategy point of view or a fighting point of view, she doesn't do a whole lot of strategizing. That's kind of what Stein is for. Stein is very good at that, so she doesn't need to. So because of that, she doesn't really use her intelligence a whole lot. Although, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying she doesn't have it. She just, when Stein is around, she doesn't need it. So because of that, I would say it's relatively lower just for the sheer amount of time she uses it instead of what it like actually would be. So I would say 14, right around there. Wisdom, on the other hand, I will say this. Spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, we should be good. Marie gets it. Like, constantly. She never questions Death's orders. Even when he sends the guy that betrayed her on a mission with her to kill his mother, which is the biggest conflict of interest in existence. But she never questions it. She gets it, constantly. She knows why Krona had to go and be the one to fight Medusa. With Marie. Mm-hmm. She gets it. So because of that, honestly, that one instance, but the fact that she does it constantly throughout the show, never questioning Lord Death's orders and understanding where the other characters are coming from and what's going on in their mind, I have to say 20 for her wisdom. Like, there's just no way around it. Into charisma, she is super nice. Like, constantly. Even when Krona betrays her, she's not... There's no animosity from her towards him. Sure, she's upset, disappointed, rightfully so, but she's never mean to him for the sake of being mean or getting back at him. And then, if you're on her good side, she's quite possibly the nicest person in the show, theoretically with the exception of Tsubaki. But even then, I don't think so. So because of that, I'm going to go with 18 to 20 for the score. 18 just because of the retaliation, I'll say, or the anger towards Krona, which was 100% justified, honestly. But neither here nor there, 18 to 20. Am I all good for the characters?
Yeah.
Cool. Going towards the build now. Gonna go human first time, obviously. I would go the variant, specifically so you could go with the athlete feat. However, you could go, Great Weapon Master? I always get Great Weapon Master and Great Weapon Fighting mixed up. Great Weapon Master feat, although personally, I'd probably go with athlete instead. That's just me. If you wanted some sort of more conceptual build, you could go the Unearthed Arcana, what is it? Reborn?
Reborn.
Okay. Go Construct instead of Undead. However, Undead could theoretically work. That's what Frankenstein was originally, I believe. Although, that's a little philosophical. Was he undead or was he created by Dr. Frankenstein?
Okay, he is a patchwork man. So
yeah. That's a philosophical question that we don't have the time nor mental capacity to get into right now. Go Construct, not Undead. If your DM will allow you. That will be entirely DM's discretion. Other than that, it'll have to just be like an aesthetic choice that you make for your human. Yeah. For the class, go Fighter. Great Weapon Fighting, correct? Meister subclass. Did I say that right? Great Weapon Fighting? Okay, cool. From there, what you're going to do is, at 10th level, you're going to take the Sewing Touch feature. Because I wanted to build Stein first and then Marie's stuff, because I have stuff for both of them. So starting off, you would go with Stein's, Sewing touch feature. Chill, do you want to brush me up on what that is? The target makes a... I know I said chill, but let me try to do this. Target makes a... What is it? Constitution save? Or is it Dex? It's one of the two.
Yeah, cons.
Con save. Up against your Constitution modifier plus 8 plus your proficiency bonus. Let me say that in a way that makes sense via the normal D&D sayings. 8 plus your Constitution modifier plus your proficiency bonus. There we go. On a fail, they are paralyzed for 1 minute, correct?
Yep.
They get a chance to save at the end of each of their turns, but they're paralyzed for 1 minute, and while this is going on, the user of this ability is restrained for that amount of time, unless they use a bonus action to drop the effect. You may do this a number equal to your, what was it, Constitution modifier, or was it once per long rest? That's the real question.
Whoa.
Should be down at the bottom of that description. Is it not? I would say equal to your Constitution modifier then. A number of times equal to your Constitution modifier. It is worth noting that there are no prerequisites for this ability aside from being 10th level. Mm-hmm. We good there?
Yeah.
Okay. So moving on, you would take at either 3rd or I believe 7th level. You would take Healing Touch to mimic Marie's ability. Now I say 3rd or 7th because your DM might want you to take a multiple weapon ability to mimic Stein's ability to use different weapon partners, because he uses both Spirit and Marie. And Spirit stuff has already been gone into because check out my Maka video. So whenever you are allowed, depending on what your DM would like you to do, take Healing Touch, right?
Healing Wavelength.
Healing Wavelength, my bad. What is it, since you have it in front of you, what does it say to do there? Because I've obviously gotten it wrong.
Find it again. There it is. Healing Wavelength. This ability replaces Healing Wavelength.
Wait,
what?
No, that's the wrong one. Go up.
Oh, it's superior.
Yeah.
Oopsie. Healing Wavelength. Okay. No prerequisites. Cool. This ability allows you to spend your turn creating a healing aurora around you. Gain a pool of health equal to your level that you may split amongst your resonated partners.
It is worth noting that you are not included in that pool. You cannot heal yourself with this ability at the 3rd level. You may do this once equal, or you may do this a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier per long rest, correct?
Yeah.
Because I believe it is the healing pool. I might have mistyped that.
Oof.
I think it's supposed to be your level plus your wisdom mod.
Oof.
Because that's what it is with clerics, I believe. Mm. And I was kind of mimicking the cleric thing there. So then, yeah. Then I believe it's 15th level.
Yeah.
You're going to take Superior Healing Wavelength, which replaces it. And what that does is it takes the Healing Wavelength. So you spend your turn, and you gain a pool of hit points that can be split amongst people in your group, or your resonated partners, I should say. Superior Healing Wavelength allows you to include yourself in the pool of people you may heal. It, as well as multiplying your level by 3, plus your wisdom modifier. Again, you may do this an equal number of times to your wisdom modifier. I would argue that you would still be able to keep your number of times for your regular healing wavelength, because it's a different ability. Mm-hmm. So I would argue for all of the extra stuff that gives you different benefits like that, you would keep the originals too. But that's a DM decision. Have we missed anything? I believe that is it.
That is everything.
Alright. Well, that is all I have for you fine adventurers for this series. Be on the lookout for my next series, the hint for which I will leave you with this. See, you're thinking about this rationally. You can figure out what game that comes from, I will be pretty impressed. One last hint. It is a roguelike. So, there's that. Other than that, if you can't possibly wait until my next video, or my next series, I should say, feel free to come check out my Discord or come hang out on Twitch. Other than that, I will catch you all later.